I had some paint left over on my palette after I did a different project, so I decided just to doodle with my paint. Not every painting has to be a masterpiece. You don't have to plan out every painting. You can just throw your paint down and see what happens. This is what happened when I took all the leftover paint on my palette and just doodled some flowers. This painting took exactly 15 minutes, and that was all the time I gave myself, and then I moved on to something else. Eventually, I might paint over this or change it into something else, but I know it's not an amazing painting or anything, but it's kind of fun to see how artists work and how they just play around with color. I tend not to plan when I'm painting, and I probably should be planning a little bit more, but this is kind of the way that I get warmed up. I work also and I have a lot going on, so it's easy for me just to start playing around with paint without doing a big plan because it actually gets me to work. Sometimes if you try to plan out a painting, you'll spend so much time thinking about it and planning it and researching it that you never actually get to it. So that's my advice for today. If you are thinking that you haven't done art in a while and you want to try some new art or you need to get back to it, just pick up a brush and some paint and just go for it. Using a limited palette is a good way to create a painting that's a little bit more cohesive. In this one, I had all the same colors. They're kind of pastel Eastery colors because I had painted some overalls for my daughter, which I did make a little video about that. She came down and asked me to paint her overalls with flowers, and I did, and it was really pretty and girly. So I had this kind of color palette left, which I think goes together pretty well. It's not typically colors that I'd pick, but I did have a lot of fun with this. When I majored in painting in college, I struggled a little bit because I always felt like I gravitated towards things that were pretty, like flowers, botanicals, and kind of pinks and blues. And I almost felt like that was wrong in school to like those kind of things because it was too feminine, it wasn't serious enough. And now I don't really care. I just do whatever I want to do. And it feels a lot better that way, just to kind of see what comes out of your brush, if that makes any sense. I think people always think that they should be creating a certain way and making art that looks a certain way, but it's just not true. Make what you love.